Floyd Mayweather has earned over $700 million inside the ring. He's the richest boxer to ever live. A man who literally changed his name to Money. On Instagram, it's all private jets, 18-karat gold watches, and car collections worth more than your entire neighborhood. But behind the scenes, the numbers aren't adding up. While the world sees the billionaire lifestyle, the IRS sees a massive tax debt. While he's posting stacks of cash, his own gym is facing a multi-million-dollar legal crisis. The narrative of the undefeated businessman is starting to crack. What happens when a man built on the brand of being rich suddenly faces the one opponent he can't outpunch? Bankruptcy? Is the king of cash actually broke? Or is this the most elaborate financial defensive move of his career? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the truth Mayweather doesn't want you to see. Hit that like button and subscribe, because the evidence we found changes everything. How can a man flashing this much cash face lawsuits, unpaid staff, and multi-million-dollar debts? To understand the rumors, you have to look at the friction. For most athletes, a lawsuit is just a nuisance. For Floyd Mayweather, a financial dispute is a direct strike at his brand. In recent years, the money persona has faced a series of documented hits that have experts questioning his actual liquidity. It started with the IRS, a recurring shadow that has haunted Floyd's career. Despite earning hundreds of millions, Floyd has faced multiple tax liens, including a massive $22 million bill that reportedly required the McGregor payday to settle. He even had to petition the tax court for a reprieve, arguing that despite his wealth, his assets were restricted and illiquid, a rare admission of financial vulnerability from a man who defines himself by his access to cash. Then came the digital gold rush, which turned into a reputational nightmare. Floyd famously rebranded himself as Floyd Crypto Mayweather, but he wasn't the only superstar caught in this web. Alongside high-profile celebrities like DJ Khaled, Floyd became a primary promoter for Centratech, a crypto firm that claimed to offer a functional debit card for digital currency. It was later revealed to be a total fraud, with the founders eventually facing prison time. The SEC stepped in, charging both Mayweather and Khaled for failing to disclose that they were paid significant sums to promote the initial coin offering. Floyd was forced to pay over $600,000 in disgorgement and penalties, and he was slapped with a 3-year ban from promoting any securities. This wasn't just a fine. It was a public deconstruction of his financial genius aura, proving that even the biggest names in entertainment could be utilized to lend a false sense of legitimacy to a scam. But the friction didn't stop with the SEC. He later launched the Mayweatherverse NFT project, promising fans exclusive access and virtual land. Within months, the floor price of the NFTs plummeted by over 90%, leaving thousands of investors holding worthless digital tokens. When a man whose brand is winning starts leading his followers into financial losses, the genius aura begins to fade, replaced by a more cynical narrative of a legend cashing out at any cost. The most alarming crack, however, appeared much closer to home in early 2025. Reports surfaced of a protest at the Mayweather boxing gym, the literal heart of his empire. Longtime staff and trainers allegedly claimed they hadn't been paid for months. For a man who carries 6 figures in a backpack and posts videos of himself counting stacks of cash, the idea of his own employees being shorted created a dissonance the internet couldn't ignore. This brings us to the exhibition era, which has just reached its ultimate billion-dollar climax. As of early 2026, the impossible has become official. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao have signed for a sanctioned professional rematch. On September 19th, 2026, inside the $2.3 billion Las Vegas Sphere, Floyd is putting his legendary 50-0 record on the line for a massive Netflix global event. The question arises, is he fighting for the love of the game, or is he fighting to service a massive burn rate that his traditional investments can no longer cover? A $200 million site fee from Netflix suggests a desperate need for rapid, liquid capital. If Manny lands at iconic left hand, Floyd's entire TB branding is shattered. He would no longer be the undefeated king. He would be 50-1. This fight isn't just a payday. It's the ultimate financial defensive move to keep the money empire from collapsing under the weight of its own overhead. And yet, if you look at Floyd's public life, none of that pressure exists. This is where the performance of wealth becomes a masterpiece of branding. Despite the liens, the SEC fines, Floyd continues to live a life of post-opulent luxury that requires millions in monthly overhead just to keep the lights on. His real estate portfolio alone is a billionaire's roadmap. In Beverly Hills, he resides in a $25 million French modern estate spanning over 15,000 square feet. It's a house built for a mogul, featuring a private 20-seat movie theater, a massive wine cellar, and a custom candy shop that remains stocked 24/7. When the desert heat calls, he retreats to his big boy mansion in Las Vegas, a $12.5 million fortress where every inch is detailed with custom Swarovski, Baccarat, and Versace finishes. Not to be outdone by his own past, he also maintains an $18 million mansion on Palm Island in Miami, ensuring that wherever he lands, he owns the skyline. These aren't just homes, they are monuments to his status, requiring a small army of staff and millions in annual maintenance. But land is too static for him. To move between these fortresses, he maintains a personal air force. His flagship is Air Mayweather, a $50 million Gulfstream G650. This isn't just a jet, it's a flying palace with custom TMT branding and a bespoke interior design for cross-continental speed. In a move that defines his obsession with personal space, he also owns a second private jet, a Gulfstream 3. He reportedly uses this smaller aircraft specifically for his entourage and bodyguards, ensuring that while they provide his security, his personal sanctuary at 40,000 feet remains undisturbed. When he hits the water, the scale only increases. Floyd owns a fleet of 3 luxury yachts, including a custom 100-foot Sunseeker often spotted in the crystal waters of Miami and the Mediterranean. These are floating VIP lounges equipped with jet skis and private chefs, serving as mobile extensions of his nightlife kingdom. This includes his investment in Girl Collection, his upscale Las Vegas gentlemen's club. For Floyd, nightlife isn't just a hobby. It's a business where he is the primary attraction, turning his presence into a revenue stream. However, his investments extend beyond nightlife and residential fighting. He reportedly holds an extensive portfolio of commercial properties, including a network of gyms under the TMT brand, boutique hotels, and luxury retail spaces. These are high-yield assets that may not flash on Instagram, but are designed to generate the long-term cash flow required to sustain his lifestyle. Then, there's the garage, a curated fortress of engineering valued at over $40 million. Floyd doesn't just buy cars, he buys statements. While his total collection exceeds 100 vehicles, 5 specific machines define the money brand. First is the $4.8 million Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita. Only 2 exist in the entire world, and its diamond weave carbon fiber finish gleams with the same rarity as Floyd's undefeated record. This car isn't just transport, it's a liquid asset on wheels. Then there's the $3.5 million Bugatti Chiron, a 1,500 horsepower monster that represents his need for absolute, overwhelming speed and engineering dominance. For pure Italian showmanship, he turns to the rare Ferrari LaFerrari Aperta, a hybrid hypercar that screams the best ever every time the V12 ignites. In the realm of classic dominance sits the $2 million Ferrari Enzo, a legendary machine that appreciates in value just like Floyd's legacy, serving as a hedge against inflation. Finally, for his daily transit, he relies on a custom, all-black Rolls-Royce Phantom, the ultimate symbol of the man who moves through the world with the quiet, heavy authority of a king. This creates the central mystery of the Mayweather era. How can a man with 3 yachts, 2 private jets, and a $4.8 million Koenigsegg face rumors of unpaid gym staff? In the world of high finance, you can be asset-rich but cash-poor. But how does one man even justify this level of capital? To find the answer, you have to look at the greatest business heist in sports history. In 2006, he made a gamble that changed the industry forever. He paid $750,000 to buy himself out of his contract with Top Rank. At the time, critics thought he was crazy. In reality, he was becoming the bank. By founding Mayweather Promotions, he stopped being a contractor and started being the owner. He didn't just fight for a purse. He owned the concessions, the ticket office, and the global broadcast rights. He fundamentally changed the power dynamic of the sport, moving from the exploited to the exploiter. He turned this sweet science into a mathematical slaughterhouse for cash. That strategy resulted in the $250 million payday for the Pacquiao fight of the century and a staggering $300 million for the McGregor crossover spectacle. He didn't just beat 20 world champions. He out-negotiated them, extracting every possible cent from the pay-per-view model. He captured 50 victories with a defensive style that ensured he took almost no damage, allowing him to extend his earning years into his late 40s. This isn't just sports success. It's a billion-dollar masterclass in asset protection and self-ownership. This legendary run is the only reason the Money brand still has the gravity to survive the current controversies, as his past successes provide a buffer for his current financial gambles. Floyd's life remains a tactical battlefield of high-profile beefs and feuds. His long-standing war of words with figures like 50 Cent and Dana White often center on one topic: his actual net worth. When 50 Cent famously challenged Floyd's literacy or claimed he was running out of cash, it wasn't just an insult. It was a direct strike at Floyd's commercial value. In the world of TME, reputation is currency. Beyond the headlines, his legal history adds a heavy reputational tax to the bottom line. From past domestic violence convictions to a string of defamation and contract lawsuits, Floyd has spent millions in legal fees over 3 decades. These aren't just legal hurdles. They're potential drains on the liquidity he so famously boasts about. Every courtroom appearance is a reminder that the money empire is built on a foundation of constant legal and financial warfare. Behind the lawsuits and the balance sheets lies a deeply complex human aspect. He has never been married, but his high-profile relationships have been a constant fixture in the headlines. His most notable long-term partner was the late Josie Harris, with whom he had 3 children. Their relationship was notoriously turbulent, marked by high-profile domestic violence incidents that left a lasting mark on Floyd's public image and personal life. These events aren't just tabloid fodder. They represent a darker side of the drive and aggression that made him a champion in the ring, but a lightning rod for controversy outside of it. He's also been linked to various other women throughout his career, often making news for his opulent lifestyle and public appearances with his ever-shifting inner circle. This personal friction often filters down to his children, who have lived their lives under the intense, often unforgiving glare of the Money brand. His eldest daughter, Inoue Mayweather, has frequently been in the spotlight for legal issues and her high-profile relationship with rapper NBA YoungBoy, illustrating the challenges of growing up in the shadow of such a dominant patriarch. Mayweather's family dynamics are a paradox. On one hand, he presents himself as a devoted, hands-on father, frequently posting about his children's milestones and emphasizing that his entire empire was built to ensure their financial security, from custom cars for birthdays to front-row seats at global events. On the other hand, those relationships have been tested by the inherent strain of growing up as the heir to the best ever. He is building a dynasty, but dynasties are rarely peaceful. He has quietly positioned himself in the world of high-yield commercial ventures, including minority stakes in Silicon Valley tech startups, a growing footprint in the hospitality industry through boutique restaurants, and his own Mayweather Boxing Plus Fitness franchise model. This is an empire built to survive even if the ring stops paying. The goal is to move from active income to generational wealth, but the transition is notoriously difficult for athletes used to the massive, sudden paydays of the boxing world. So, is Floyd Mayweather going broke? The answer is likely more complex than a yes or no. Floyd Mayweather is a master of leverage. He understands that in the 21st century, attention is currency. Even the rumors of his financial trouble generate clicks, views, and ticket sales for his next exhibition, effectively turning his critics into his promoters. The real fight was never in the ring. It was against the impossible cost of being the best ever, a title that demands constant, visible proof of superiority. Billionaire on paper, burning cash in reality. The money man's empire faces scrutiny, but the Instagram fantasy remains untouched. Whether he is a billionaire navigating strategic friction or a legend fighting to outrun a massive burn rate, one thing is certain. Is Mayweather just performing liquidity, or is he finally fighting a battle money can't buy? The final bell has yet to ring, but the pressure in the corner is higher than it's ever been. What do you think? Is the upcoming rematch at the Sphere a sign of trouble, or just another money heist? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay hungry.